23 minutes to door knock.
Hello everyone, this is Pico Entertainment and we're back again, and here now we have another video for you, and this will continue the Mission Impossible review series in lead up to the latest installment, Dead Reckoning Part 1, which is due for release on July the 12th, 2023. And you can check out my reviews of other installments within the franchise, and I'll leave some links within the description. Now, Mission Impossible Ghost Protocol is of course the fourth entry in the big budget movie series adaptation of the classic 60s television series based on a secret spy agency known as the IMF. The movie itself was released on December the 7th, 2011, and of course it stars Tom Cruise, reprising his role once again as Ethan Hunt in the lead. Simon Pegg returns in his role as Benji from the previous installment, and we now have new additions such as Paula Patton, Jerermy Renner, and the movie was directed by Brad Bird. Now, the story of Ghost Protocol catches up with Ethan Hunt captive in a Moscow prison. After a lengthy escape, he and his team are assigned to track down a man named Colbert, or Kurt Hendricks, who looks to obtain the nuclear launch codes and do something dangerous with them. When meeting IMF Secretary and CIA analyst William Brandt, Hunt learns that the IMF will be disavowed due to the Ghost Protocol initiative. Despite this revelation, Hunt alongside Brandt and the rest of his team continue to pursue Hendricks all over the world in order to stop him activating the codes and causing worldwide destruction. Now, when looking back on Ghost Protocol, it's a very lovely mix of action and spectacle. We have lots of big stunts and sequences, many twists and turns, so there's plenty there to keep you entertained overall. But at the same time, whilst the story isn't overly convoluted, it can be a bit protracted, and this is also the same for the action sequences that can be lengthy and overdone. Sequences as the opening jailbreak, where we see Ethan fighting his way through many prisoners whilst on communications to Benji at the same time, or when they have to infiltrate the Kremlin, where we see them dressed as Russian officers, and both of these sequences are executed fine, but they could have done with some trimming overall. Now, whereas with Mission Impossible 2 and 3, we did have some sort of substantial villain in the role, this time the movie really lacks any type of antagonist to talk about. Michael Enquist is very much anonymous as Hendricks, so you don't have that same personal tension as what we got previously, especially in the third film. Now, for all of the globe-trotting story, without question, the best segment of the movie is when the team travel to Dubai. This is where the movie is at its most tense and compelling. And this is of course where we have the movie's best scene and also one of the most iconic moments within the franchise. This is where the team have to set up a fake meeting in the famous Burj Khalifa skyscraper with Hendricks in order to obtain the nuclear codes. They need access to the server interface within the building. Ethan has to climb up to the 130th floor in order to access the servers, only using electronic suction gloves and footwear. As we see him ascend steadily, we get these large overview and wide panning shots of just him and the building, and we even see an upcoming sandstorm in the background, and then all of a sudden the electronic gloves start to malfunction and Ethan falls down and he has to regain his grip. It's an absolute masterclass in finger-biting tension and suspense, with no musical score playing in the background or tricky editing. Of course, this was helped by the fact that Tom Cruise actually did the stunt himself, as per usual with these films, and overall this is just great action filmmaking at its best. And the excitement continues right throughout this segment as we see the IMF staging the fake transaction with Hendricks, and this is really the only time that we get any real tension or suspense, and also a team dynamic, and this is something that was certainly lost in the previous two installments, and you're just hooked all the way just to see if the IMF team can successfully pull off their plan. We then even get a fast-paced chase between Ethan and Hendricks within a sandstorm, first on foot and then by car, and it's absolutely frantic and energetic and fast-paced, and once again ever so exciting. But sadly, after this segment, the movie can't quite recapture those heights in its final third. It tries to keep up the pace. We get lots of fights and chases as we take a final detour into Mumbai, but it just feels a bit routine and uninspired as we come towards the overall conclusion. Now, in terms of the cast, they're all absolutely fine in their roles. In terms of the character, I would say that Ethan Hunt has regressed this time, far back into the routine superhero than what we saw certainly in a John Woo sequel. And this characterization really was a soft rebooting of the character, especially when we look at the previous film where Ethan Hunt was engaged and wanting to settle down and retire away from the IMF. Now they do away with that personality and he's back to the standalone superhero agent once more. Now Simon Pegg is far more involved this time as Benji, which is very good, and he retains good chemistry overall with Tom Cruise, and this is going to be a consistent feature for the franchise going forward. And Paula Patton is also very good female support and extremely easy on the eye, especially when the team go to Mumbai and she wears that green dress, looking very good and quite stunning as well. So then we go on to the movie's overall release, and it was a big success in this year, going on to gross over $694.7 million from a $145 million budget, overall becoming the 5th highest grossing movie of 2011. So very much a rejuvenation and rebooting of the franchise after the lukewarm financial disappointment of the third movie from 2006, but at the same time I still maintain that installment was far superior to what we had here. But even more importantly, Ghost Protocol was a big step in rebuilding Tom Cruise's popularity as a mainstream A-list superstar. His diminishing status was the biggest reason that Part 3 underperformed, but the huge success of Ghost Protocol convinced studios that he was still prolific enough as an actor to headline big blockbuster movies. And whilst I wouldn't say that Ghost Protocol is amongst the absolute best within the franchise, it definitely proved that the series was viable enough going forward for mainstream audiences, and the franchise would go on to enjoy successes after its overall release. And it's still overall a very entertaining watch many years after it came out in 2011. Here's my overall thoughts and feelings and review of Mission Impossible Ghost Protocol. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Where do you think it stands in the overall hierarchy in terms of the franchise? Do you have it right up there at the top? Or do you think it was something of a disappointment following the very excellent Part 3? Let me know what you think in the comments below. And I will continue to complete this series of reviews, concentrating on the last 2 installments of the franchise before we of course head on to review Dead Reckoning Part 1, which will be due for release on July 2023. So look out for all of those future reviews within the channel. And if you have any other suggestions regarding any other movies or television series or any other topics or issues within the pop culture and entertainment scene that you'd like to see me cover, then also let me know within the comments and I will see if I can provide further commentary for you on those topics within the future. Please also hit and like the subscription and notification buttons so I can provide you with more high quality content like this in the future. But that's it for now. Take care of yourselves and I will see you very, very soon.